helm from Trump. I mean, I'm seeing this in my mind's eye, and I'm thinking, man, this is heavy duty stuff. What's going on? It's really kind of foreboding. I'm a little on edge, and I just wish that the enemy would relent and let us unite in peace and safety and security and prosperity and freedom for all Americans and for all humanity by extension. I want God to succeed. I want Trump to succeed. I hope he is, who he says he is, and he's real and understands, how serious this, economic business is. It's about economic justice and how to stop this wanton wealth imbalance that just keeps growing. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble, folks, and that's what I'd like to convey. If there's one thing I get across, it's just that we're in a lot of trouble. And, we've got to talk about these things to each other and what we can do on individual personal levels to help bring down somebody else's cost of living. Is there anything I can do? Or are you just surviving? Are you having to be on welfare yourself? Still pay a tithe at least, so that you realize, you acknowledge the fact that you have it better than somebody else. Because there's somebody that's literally going to be dying. Their state of financial desperation is so acute, so severe, so grave that they're actually going to die because they can't afford to buy food, even though there's a planet full of food. And people don't have the fear of God in their soul about where we are at this point in history. It's like we're all without excuse. God, I mean, if God just decided to destroy us all and start fresh, he'd be 100% warranted, justified in doing so. So, like that comparison Jesus talked about, that Tower of Siloam that fell on those people. And he said, do you suppose that they were worse sinners than anybody else? No, they weren't. I mean, God can be indiscriminate. He'll kill the righteous right along with the wicked sometimes, just to make his point. Look, they had the fear of God. They got nothing to worry about. They're going to be fine before the judgment seat. Life is more than a body. Have no faith in the flesh. Where this is about eternity. You're not a body. You're your essence, the heart, the soul, the spirit, the mind, all those feelings, your imagination. I mean, all these things. It's more than your brain. I mean, we're cosmic critters. Going to sleep at night is about like death, according to Jesus. So you have dreams. You're still alive in your dream. So it stands to reason you lose your entire body. You still have consciousness. It's just the body is very useful as a vehicle, as a tool to embody our essence and to enjoy things on another level, experiential level that God has endowed upon us. So we're really very blessed just to exist, to have existence as human beings. It's a really huge compliment to be made in the image and likeness of God, to be sharing in this thing. The God that owns the universe. And he can just manifest anything that he can imagine. And that's what he's done. Look at all the flora and fauna, all the wonderment. Are there other life forms in our galaxy, in the universe, very similar to us with different stories? Hey, it's a trip, man. We're a part of something big, something really big. And we should try to live up to it as best we can. And, not stop beating ourselves up, stop with the self-loathing, the lack of self-control. I'm preaching to the choir, folks, because I've really been going through it, man. I've really been getting beat up or allowing myself to get beat up, and I'm getting tired of it. And, I just want things to change because I know that what's making us crazy, what's making us nuts, what's really bugging us and causing us to want to rebel and to slash our wrists, metaphorically, is because we can't stand seeing people bullied, the innocent. We can't stand it. And we know that's going on. And we can't do nothing. We have to speak out. And that's all I'm doing in my videos. I'm just speaking out. And I'm trying to influence those in positions of influence, yes. If you're a little bird and you can get information to them, whatever happens, man. I just, plagiarize the crap out of me, man. Mr. No Name, that's fine. Mr. No Name, that's a wannabe influencer of influencers, I don't care. deride me. Doesn't matter. I'll be your friend if you just work for good and you're willing to set me free and to set everybody free. You're my friend. You're a good American. You're a good human being. And you will be found worthy and deserving of inheriting a better world, a renewed world, perfect, down to the smallest detail. Imagine anything that could go wrong, anything you don't like, anything bad. Imagine it being gone. God has given us the wherewithal to imagine that reality. So it's not like we're going to be forced to live in a crap hole, in perpetuity. No. The plan is that it's going to be a perfect place where we're going to be at peace with one another. And therefore, we're going to be a lot more at peace with ourselves. And that's going to be a beautiful state of affairs where we're free to stop slashing our metaphorical wrists, stop self-flagellating, beating ourselves up, because we hate our lives in a world, okay, where others, our fellow human beings, our brothers and sisters are suffering unnecessarily. We're not okay with that, and it's good that we're not okay with that. And we'll never be okay with that. And the only plateau we can ever reach that we can be content with, satisfied with, and quit at is a plateau whereby there is absolute and universal freedom. Regarding the wholly fraudulent economic order in America, understand this much: that one, true capitalism is not to blame, as the results thereof are financial balance, harmony, equal freedom through prosperity for all. Okay, somehow I think I wrote this sentence wrong because that did not come out right. Oh, I'm explaining true capitalism, right. Well, true capitalism isn't to blame, okay? That's not the problem in America. And people have got to understand that. Because it leads to economic balance and prosperity and freedom. That's the form of equality that we're looking for, equal freedom. That's equal rights, all that kind of stuff. Prosperity for all. That's how it works. So that's what automatically happens if you have true capitalism. But that you have got to adhere to the rules, and if you don't adhere to the rules and you veer away from them, then you've got problems. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And it's been creeping for a long, long time. And there's been incremental jumps like the '08 bailout, the assassination of JFK, going off the gold standard, Slick Willie getting rid of the Glass-Steagall Act. So they've ramped it up at periods. But now it's just, it's all out in your face. It's in the open. It's just, whatever the market will bear. We're ruthless. We're cutthroat. We don't care. We just don't care about people. We care about profits way more. Yeah, you got that? You got our number? Let's be very clear. That's their attitude. So it's, like I say, folks, we're in a lot of trouble. We're going to have to humble ourselves before the Lord and before each other and really discuss what it's going to take to bring down our cost of living tax, to help start setting us more free, to be more free. To go in that direction, that trajectory. Because until we do, we're just going to get more and more miserable, I think. I just predict that it's going to get tougher and tougher. Metaphorically, we're going to want to slash our wrists more and more. And we're going to indulge in vices and all kinds of escapist behavior and ways to anesthetize ourselves as an allegory. That's what it's all about, man. So you can have all kinds of social ills and discontent, collective levels, on individual levels, all kinds of levels, all the levels. We're all just getting our share of abuse through osmosis, the spirit of the air. And it's good that we're, accepting it. We admit that we hate our lives in a world of injustice. That's good. That's what drives us, to make it a better world. Not for some, but for all. That's what we have to do. We have to bind the wound where it's hemorrhaging, where people are literally dying in America and around the world because of evil economic policy, because satanic forces have been triumphing and running roughshod over decent humanity for many decades in America. No, what we've had since at least 1963 the course has been set further back is the plan to disallow true capitalism through the underhanded theft of the people, with the working class at the top of the list. Right, that's who this has hurt the most. They set the course in 1963, and it's just been getting worse and worse for the working class, labor class, the working poor, blue-collar people. Harder and harder to crack that nut, to reach that bar of reaching the American dream of home ownership, middle class. It's a fact. I mean, it's just math. Nothing anybody can argue. So it's theft of the working class. And we've had a mutant amalgamation of the worst kind of crony capitalism, monopolies consisting of sundry special interest groups with the same interests. That's theft of the wealth of the people of the nation. It's fascism, since the government is in on it. That's what makes it fascist. Where the government works against the best interests of the people. It might be a minority in the government, but like I pointed out before, it takes 10% only to be a critical mass, like the bailout of '08. So these people got away with it because it was a small handful of top politicians and bankster class. It was, that was probably a fraction of 1%. But 10% of the American people were duped or deceived or evil into believing that we needed that bailout. I still meet people today that defend it. So, but that was the power class, and then they call it a democracy. And there's problems with democracy. Like I pointed out, they can vote to raise the taxes of the poor. How is that, if 51% of the people are rich, if 49% of the people are dirt poor, what if the 51% keep voting to keep the 49% dirt poor just by stealing from them? And keep voting to, keep the status quo trajectory. You understand the problems with a democracy? So democracies have distinct problems, inherent problems. But how do you explain the bailout of '08? You understand? That just went against any norms of any type of democracy. But, this is being paid by the people that can least afford to pay it, and the problem is getting more and more acute. So it was a tiny fraction of a percent that were really the kingpins in the whole thing, and then the rest were either duped or deceived or evil. Into going along with it, into sticking up for it, justifying it, because of the too big to jail and too big to fail. We're in a lot of trouble. We've let these people get away with a lot. So they're not used to being spanked. And that's what Trump's going through. He's spanking them. Saying, no, I'm going to grapple this wheel away. I'm the president now. The will of the people, okay, is going to be, I'm going to do what I said, and I'm going to try to carry out the will of the people. And they're just pulling it. They're trying to just set it off course, whatever they can do. Throw a monkey wrench in the works. I mean, whatever it takes. No holds are barred, okay? And, so, I mean, killing them, there's probably millions of people like Trump dead. God. God's will is still going to be done one way or another. Sooner or later, his will is going to be done on earth as it is in heaven. Today in America, racism is 100% wrong, as it should be. However, being prejudiced toward the desperately poor is 100% okay, according to NIMBYs. That's not in my backyarders. They're a bunch of evil MFers. See, a lot of this stuff is unspoken. I'm just, trying to help you get in the heads of these people to see